8.
I had no idea Woody Marks was that valuable. Texans were atrocious against the Raiders. Woody Marks didn't play. Now, listen, opposing quarterbacks this year have a passer rating of 74. I do think, and they'd be ugly, but I think they could get to the conference championship. I like the coach. I like the quarterback. If Woody Marks is healthy, they can run the football. I got Houston at 8.
Number.
All right, let's talk about the Houston Texans. If this team were to navigate its way to the AFC Championship game, it would stand as one of the most extraordinary feats we've witnessed in the NFL in recent memory. I mean that sincerely. It's a notable observation, seeing their trajectory in various power rankings, soaring to as high as 3rd, now adjusting back to 8th. That volatility itself tells a story of a team that commands attention, but also exists in a space where definitive evaluation is complex. First, I have to extend a major acknowledgement to the Houston Texans fan base. In my experience, they rank among the most composed, yet deeply passionate collectives in the league. Whenever I produce content focused on the Texans, they engage with a palpable enthusiasm that is wholly centered on the game itself. There's a discernible authenticity to it. It's a passion devoid of the brash overconfidence or grating arrogance you sometimes encounter elsewhere. They love their team, they know football, and they discuss it with a grounded intensity. I have to ask, is this a Houston cultural trait? I confess my travels haven't taken me extensively through Texas, so I'm genuinely curious. There's a reputation for certain fan bases to be, let's say, emphatically vocal in their convictions. Yet the Texans supporters project a simultaneous fervor and lack of pretension that is genuinely impressive. As someone whose own analysis can tilt toward the aggressive, I find it noteworthy. What's the secret, Houston? This reflective admiration stems from being consistently amazed at what this organization has achieved this season. It's been a genuine disappointment that their narrative hasn't dominated the conversation more, but the path of their year, a surge, then the setback of C.J. Stroud's injury, created natural pauses. I'll be the first to admit there were moments where I thought, well, that might derail everything. I had no issue believing in Stroud's MVP-caliber talent from the outset, pushing back against any premature dismissal of him during inevitable rookie struggles. Yet, despite that belief in the player, my expectations for the team's ceiling this specific year were tempered. The sheer volume of variables, injuries, coaching integration, the natural ebbs and flows of development, made a deep playoff run seem like a future aspiration, not a present expectation. This season's success, therefore, has been constructed on a foundation that is both brutal and beautiful, their defense. This unit isn't just good, it's violent. It's physically punishing, relentlessly aggressive, and operates with a cohesive fury that defines the team's identity. While the offense has had its bright spots, the defense has been the unwavering constant, the engine pulling the train. This brings me to a pivotal point regarding their upcoming matchup, which I see as a profound barometer game, but from a dual perspective. I've discussed how this game is the ultimate test for the Los Angeles Chargers and Justin Herbert. Can their beleaguered offense even scratch out a semblance of functionality against this Texans defensive front? Success there would massively boost their playoff credibility. But the inverse is equally true, if not more so, for Houston. This is a monumental barometer for their offense. You're facing a Chargers defense that is itself elite, currently jockeying for the top statistical spot. A victory secured not purely by defensive dominance, but accompanied by clear, tangible progress from C.J. Stroud and the offensive scheme. That changes the entire calculus. It transitions the conversation from they might sneak into the AFC picture and make it ugly to this team is crystallizing into a complete and legitimate force at the perfect time. That progression carries immense weight. Before delving deeper, a crucial channel note. Please remember to subscribe and watch this video in its entirety. When you engage fully and hit that subscribe button simultaneously, it creates a catalytic effect for the channel's growth. This isn't a hollow pursuit of metrics. It's about building the capacity to create the kind of substantive, unbiased Texans and NFL content that fosters real football dialogue. I'm striving to cultivate a community rooted in authentic sports discourse, a space where informed voices are heard and where the love of the game is the central currency. Your support through viewing and subscribing is the direct fuel for that endeavor. It's deeply appreciated. Now back to the Texans' place in the ecosystem. For argument's sake, let's consider the cluster of the league's top 10 teams in no particular order. If we're playing a hypothetical game of which offense would you trust more to pile up points in a high-stakes playoff environment, it's understandable why several others might get the nod. The Josh Allen-led Buffalo Bills offense, with its inherent resilience and Allen's individual magic, inspires a certain faith. The Sean McVay-Matthew Stafford partnership with the Rams, the emerging synergy in Chicago, the seasoned units in Seattle and New England, you can construct logical cases for them based on track record, quarterback pedigree, or offensive firepower. Conversely, when we survey the defensive side of these elite teams, we find glaring liabilities. Some contenders have defenses that are outright vulnerable, or, like the 49ers, are currently ravaged by injuries to key players. This dichotomy leads me to a confidence factor analysis, a framework I've gravitated towards in this parity-rich season where traditional ranking feels futile. It asks, what element of a given team can you trust, with the highest degree of certainty, to show up and be decisive in a playoff setting? My perennial example of high trust is the Stafford-McVay duo. I have fundamental faith that combination will not be mentally overwhelmed, will have a coherent plan, and will execute at a high level. That's earned trust through repeated high-pressure performances. Here's where the Houston Texans defense enters the conversation, with a compelling, perhaps unique, argument. You could make a strong case that this defensive unit has the potential to be the single most reliable weapon any team possesses entering the postseason. It is a known destructive quantity. Its identity, violent, physical, aggressive, is not a game-by-game fluctuation. It's a cultural cornerstone. This isn't a new flash-in-the-pan development. This group has been building this identity, and key components have playoff experience. The confidence that this defense will get after it, will impose its will, and will create game-altering negative plays is extremely high. Compare that certainty to the questions surrounding other teams. I'm optimistic about the Eagles' offensive direction, but do I trust it implicitly in a playoff crucible? Not yet. I think Ben Johnson is a brilliant play caller and Caleb Williams is impressive, but their first playoff venture together is an unknown. I believe in elements of the Seahawks, but can I bank on their offensive consistency against top-tier playoff defenses? The evidence is mixed. For many contenders, there are legitimate, what will they look like? Questions. You are unlikely to watch a Rams playoff game and think, Stafford looks lost, McVay is overmatched. You are unlikely to watch the Bills and think, Josh Allen has completely choked. Similarly, you are exceptionally unlikely to watch the Texans and think, their defense was soft today. They failed to bring the pressure. The expectation of defensive ferocity is near guaranteed. To be perfectly clear, this is not me declaring the Texans a better overall team than the Broncos, or predicting they will go further than the Jaguars. This is an exercise in isolating a component and assessing its reliability. I maintain tremendous belief in the Broncos as a complete entity, viewing their recent loss as an overblown event. But on a pure confidence in a specific unit to deliver scale, the Texans' defense sits in rarefied air. For Houston, the corresponding question mark, and it's no secret, is the offense. That's precisely why this Chargers game is so illuminating. As I said for LA, I'm less concerned if their defense has an off day. I want to see the offense function against elite resistance. The mirror is true for Houston. If they win, but it's a sloppy affair where CJ Stroud struggles and they rely on defensive scores, the narrative doesn't advance much. But if Stroud looks comfortable, decisive, and effective against this caliber of defense, it signals a potential unlocking. It suggests the offense can be a complementary force, not just a caretaker unit. That development would be transformative for their playoff ceiling. The context of this game is also fascinating from a strategic standpoint. Seeding implications are real. A win gives Houston critical tiebreakers and likely locks them into a more favorable matchup. But in the broader picture, how much does optimal seeding matter versus ensuring key players are healthy and rhythm is built? For a defense that plays with such relentless physicality, managing wear and tear is a real consideration. We're at that point in the calendar where contenders balance the urgency to win with the prudence to prepare for the true tournament. My operating assumption, as I've stated, is that both the Texans and Chargers will approach this with playoff intensity. Both have much to prove, and both will want to establish a statement heading into January. This is a huge game for Houston. It's an opportunity to solidify not just their standing, but their identity as a team that can win in multiple ways. I'm incredibly eager to see what we learn. But now I want to hear from you. The Texans have been all over the map in the national consciousness, from off the radar to the top 3 to settling in the back half of the top 10. What is your take on this team? What is your confidence level, and what does this game mean to you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. Whether you're aligned with this perspective or think I'm off base, let's get a discussion started. Let's have a passionate but ultimately fun exchange about this fascinating Texans squad. Please consider subscribing to the channel. We are building a phenomenal community here, dedicated to real football conversation, and I would be thrilled to have you join it. A thumbs up on the video also helps immensely with visibility, allowing us to keep this dialogue going. Thank you so much for your time and engagement. I'll see you next time.